Afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeremiah Collins. I'm a Chrome healthcare specialist at Google. So we're responsible for Chrome OS and the Chrome browser and the enterprise support that goes along with it. I'm happy to introduce Nitin Kadam, who's the senior enterprise architect at Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina. He's going to do the bulk of the speaking today and walk you through how Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina made Chrome browser their primary browser for the enterprise. So welcome, Nitin.
Thanks, Jeremiah, Taylor, and Google Chrome team for having me here. And it's a pleasure to share our journey to adopt Google Chrome for Enterprise at Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina. Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina is a subsidiary company of Blue Cross Blue Shield Association, and we serve in all 50 states of United States of America. Altogether, we serve around 125 million members. So 1 in 3 people who stay in the United States, it's covered by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Health Insurance. Like you see, our mission here is to improve the health and well-being of our customers and communities. We are serving our customers since 1933. So we have been in industry for over 84, 85 years. We serve around 4 million members in different line of business, whether it's a large employer, small groups, Center for Medicaid, Medicare services. My CEO, Patrick Conway, kicked off a great program last year, which is called Blue Premier, which is a value-based care models. One thing I would like to highlight about Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina is it's a not-for-profit organization, and we invest more than $50 million last year in our communities in North Carolina. So about our journey to Chrome browser, we will go through this particular agenda where we will talk about how we've overcome our legacy mindset. We will talk about why we need a modern browser. We compare various browsers at Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina. We will cover about the evaluation process we have gone through. Then we will talk about our adoption for Chrome for Enterprise versus the open source version of Chrome as a browser. Then we will talk about a Chrome deployment workshop. And then we will talk about how we did a partnership within Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina and with various divisions to make this deployment very successful and deployed everything in less than 5 weeks in a nimble and faster manner. And then we will also talk about how we'll identify the application owners, testers. I will also share our FY29 deployment plan, how we're going to keep Chrome version up to date in our environment. And then we will also share our learning with this group. So like I said, we are in the business since 1933. So we have been serving our members, provider, since 1933. So it's over 84, 85-year-olds. And our 90% of desktop laptops are from Microsoft, whether we are using Windows 7 or Windows 10. And if our employees using Windows 7 operating system, Internet Explorer is a by default browser for them. If they are using Windows 10, Microsoft Edge is a by default browser for them. But using Internet Explorer and Microsoft Edge cause so many problems in terms of in terms of productivity and efficiency of our employees. They always complain they need an alternate browser, and they are always inclined towards Chrome. So this initiative actually come from our employees who reach out to the enterprise architecture teams, who reach out to our executive teams and wanted to have Chrome as a primary browser rather than using Internet Explorer or Microsoft Edge on Windows 7 and Windows 10 operating system, respectively. We did had a Chrome browser, but it wasn't our standard. We adopt Chrome 45 back in March 2016, and then we update Chrome 57 back in April of 2017. I think it's 2 years old. But we did not have an official relationship with the Google Chrome team. So we were not comfortable. We don't know the mechanism, how quickly we can deploy it, how we can modify the policies. So that was the reason we never updated Chrome to the latest version. Like I said, till March of 2019, we were running on Chrome 57. But after having a partnership with Google Chrome team, we update to Chrome 73. But till March of 2017, if you open a Chrome, you will see a warning message like this, like we have detected you are using an older version of a Chrome, and it will give you an option to reinstall a modern Chrome stable version on those desktop and laptops. But Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina, like you guys know, we are a very heavily regulated organization. And we do not allow our employees and admin rights on their machine. So even they wanted, they cannot upgrade to the latest version of a Chrome. And this message is really annoying because whatever application you access, whether work-wise or non-work-wise, you will see warning messages on your browser like that. So it's really annoying. And our users, our employees, colleagues, always reach out to our end-user computing team and wanted to upgrade Chrome. Here, we have listed down a couple of reasons why we needed a modern browsers. First of all, we would like to improve our security. Like I have mentioned, we were running Chrome 57, and there were more than 22 high CVE vulnerabilities open. In fact, three weeks back, Google announced that there is a 0-day vulnerability in Chrome 72. Whatever you are doing, stop doing it and upgrade to Chrome 73. So it helped us to adopt Chrome 73 right away in our organization. Like I said, we definitely wanted to improve our employees' productivity and efficiency. That was the biggest reason why we adopted Chrome as our primary browser compared to other browsers available in the market. Support for our day-to-day operations, the applications which we use in North Carolina. So for our HR and finance, we use this Workday. For CRM, we use Salesforce. For incident management tool, we use ServiceNow. And all these applications available software as a service, which you can access only from a browser, they need a much more modern, stable version of a browser. And to support all those applications, we need to upgrade Chrome 57 to most stable, which is Chrome 73 version. And then, like I said about our developer communities and different teams who built a product in North Carolina, they needed a developer mode enabled in a Chrome 72, 73. It wasn't there in the initial version. If you work as a UX designer, you need a modern capability of browsers. If you are a front-end developer, you need a dev tool, which come out of the box from Chrome 73. Quality assurance team, they run so many automations, scripts, and they needed a modern version of a Chrome. Mobile developers, they needed a Chrome new version as well. So like I initially mentioned about Blue Cross is a heavily regulated organization. And before you adopt any new tools, any new technologies platform, you have to go through a standard process. And the process is like you have to publish a research memo. You have to publish a decision memo, which has to be derived from that particular research memo. And when we are evaluating different browsers available in the market, we evaluated these 7 different browsers, which includes Firefox, Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge, Opera, Safari, and Chrome. And we evaluated these 7 browsers against around 8 to 10 different parameters, which includes what are the operating system supported by these different browsers. For example, Chrome, it supports all kind of operating system, whether you are running on Windows 7, Windows 10, you are on iOS, or you are on Linux. It supports out of the box. Extension library, like I mentioned about our community of developers, whether you are a UI developer or a full stack developer, they wanted to be more productive, and they heavily depend on an extension library. So when we did an analysis on a web store, the extensions available out of the box, how it can improve our developers community, efficiency, productivity, there is no way any other browser can compete with Google Chrome. Enterprise security is top-notch, and from the day one, our enterprise security knew that they would like to adopt Chrome for Enterprise at Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina. Search engine, by default, the search engine available with Google Chrome is Google Search. Layout engine, this is important. Google Chrome for Enterprise browser use Blink to render all those applications. And we were a little bit afraid whether our legacy applications going to be compatible with Google Chrome 73 or the upcoming later version or not. But we surprised ourselves when we knew that almost 99.96% of our legacy application just worked seamlessly with Google Chrome 73. Accessibility features, we do have employees who do need special needs, and there are features available out of the box from Chrome 73, which was really useful for us. Browser features, one thing I would like to highlight that Chrome browser is way more than a browser. I have a different image of a browser when I was in college back in 2006, 2007. You open 8 or maximum 10 tabs, and you are playing a video and working on a different tab. The whole browser will crash. It's not the same situation with a Chrome anymore. So it's setting the bar really high. Technology support, I will talk more about it, how we will get into partnership with Google Chrome team. When we got to know about their 24/7 support, we can reach out to them through phone, through email, through the forum, and it makes a huge difference. When we published a research memo, we did had a group who inclined towards continue using Internet Explorer and Microsoft Edge, but Microsoft, they published a blog, I think somewhere around December 2018, and the blog says they're going to contribute to the open source Chromium project, and they're going to leverage the source code from a Chromium to build their own next version of Edge. And we are like, if Microsoft is using Chrome to build their new version of Edge, why Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina cannot use Chrome as their primary browser and serve our own employees in a much more productive and efficient manner? So I would like to call or share some more information about Chrome browser for enterprise. When we evaluated Chrome browser for enterprise versus Chromium, which is an open source of a Chrome. And we identified that Chrome browser for enterprise has so many different plugins available out of the box. For example, support to Flash, support to Codex Code, whether it's a video or audio. So our end user computing team, our security team, they don't have to worry about it. They can just trust on one particular DMX file available from Chrome browser for enterprise. And they also have around 300 plus templates, which has numerous policies. You can just go modify those policies based on your organization requirement. And you can bundle package those policies with a Chrome executable file, and you can push it to all of your employees. So that's something we learned during having a conversation with Google Chrome team. And that was the major reason why we would adopted Google Chrome for enterprise. Chrome workshop, so when we signed a contract with the Google Chrome team, the first thing we did is kicking off through a workshop. So during that workshop, we discussed various uses we have. Based on those discussions, we defined what are the use cases we have, what are the challenges different teams at Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina faces when it comes to use, when they have to use browsers. We also talked about a plan rollout. So Google Chrome team, they release a new stable version of a Chrome every 6 weeks. So we identified that this year in FY 2019, we do not have an appetite to keep our browser up to date every 6 weeks. I'm going to talk more about it because we have a very small team. We have a team of 3 people who actually executed this program in less than 6 weeks. So for FY 2020, we're going to keep our browser up to date every 6 weeks. But for FY 29, we're going to keep our browser up to date every 12 weeks. So we are upgrading and deploying our browser once in a quarter. I'm going to talk more about it. But that's something we learned during our Chrome workshop. We also learn about different ways to install a Chrome, whether you are using a Windows machine, whether you are using a Mac, or even you have a Linux. We learned during that particular workshop how easy to use Google Cloud Management to manage all those different operating systems just through one user interface. We learn about Chrome policies. Like I mentioned initially, Google Chrome team provided 300 plus policies, and those are predefined templates. And our end user computing engineer and security engineer, using those policies, they are modifying it and deploying, and it saved our lots and lot of time. User accounts, I will talk more about it, how we created an Active Directory for our beta users, how we created an Active Directory for all of our employees, for which we roll out Google Chrome 73. This is really important because when you talked about rolling out Google Chrome at an enterprise level, you're going to impact each and every employee, because to perform their day-to-day operations, they have to use a browser. Without browser, they cannot perform their day-to-day operations. So you have to do a partnership with most of the groups in your organization. So back in Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina, we do have a research and development group. It's called Innovation Garage. And that particular group uses both MacBook. Some of them uses Windows machine. Some of them also using Linux. So it was a great reason for us to do a partnership with them. So we will get a feedback from them on all 3 different operating systems. Developer community, we wanted folks from full stack engineers, folks from UX designer, folks from UI developer to be a part of our initial beta rollout, so they can give us a feedback, and based on their feedback, we can fix their issues before we are ready to roll out at an enterprise level. We did a partnership with Enterprise Security because Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina, as a healthcare, heavily regulated organizations, we wanted to make sure whatever the policy we are applying, it has to be HIPAA compliant, so we can take care of PHI, PII of our member and provider informations. Enterprise architecture, the group which I represent, we wanted to make sure we're going to keep our Chrome up to date. It should not be just one-time deployment. We should keep a pace with Google Chrome team. So as soon as they are releasing a stable version, we should release a stable and up-to-date version in our environment to avoid any open vulnerabilities with the rest of the world. Application and business owner. So we did a partnership with an application and business owner. We wanted to make sure that their application should render with Chrome 73, which means it should compatible with Chrome 73 and upcoming version. Information service delivery team. Communication team really helped us. We have a forum. Communication team published a blog which broadcasted to all of our employees that if you would like to participate into the beta rollout version of Chrome, please sign up with us. And we got way more than response which we are expecting, because people wanted to use Chrome 73. They kind of fed up using Chrome 57. From last 2 years, they are complaining. So instead of we reach out and ask people, can you please test it? Now people reaching out to us and saying, yes, please sign up for that. We would like to be a part of Chrome Beta 73. So when we had this partnership, we created an Active Directory group for all these pilot users, and we released Chrome 73 Beta for all these users. And for over 2 weeks, we had open conversation, communication with all these beta test users, and they give us a feedback about an extensions. We kind of whitelisted some pre-approved extensions. We had a set of pre-approved extensions, but they reach out to us, especially our developer community, and they say, we need a Postman extension. We need a RESTful API extensions, which are available from Chrome Web Stores. And we have gone through those extensions, we reviewed that, and we decided to approve it, and we bundled together with a Chrome. So rolling out for a beta, for a pilot users, it really helps us because we don't want all of our 9,500 employees to reach out to us and ask for the same extensions. So you have to roll out a beta version for a developer community with a different set of users and understand what are their requirements when it comes to an extension. Identifying impacted application and business owner. Like I initially mentioned, Chrome is a browser, and it's going to impact each and every department of your organizations. It was a challenging task for us to identify who is an application owner, who is an IT owner, and work with them to resolve if there will be any issues when we're going to roll out Chrome 73 from Chrome 57. So we reach out to our incident management tool. Basically, incident management tool has a list of all the people who provide a production support. So they generally page or call those people 24/7 if their application is not working. So we reach out to our incident management tool, got a list of our application and IT owners. So it was really helpful for us. We did the same task with our application monitoring tool. We reach out to our internal social collaboration tools. We announced on various forums. We announced on various groups to get feedback from them, to identify the application, to identify an IT owners. We also reach out to our core production team to identify how many applications we have, which really help us to gather the list of all the applications we would like to test before rolling out Chrome 73. So identifying a pilot users, which will be your users for testing an application and providing you a sign-off. One thing I would like to highlight is when you go and talk about upgrading Chrome and talk about testing, there is a confusion between doing a compatibility testing versus an application testing. When I reach out to my leadership to get a funding for this project, some of the folks would like us to involve our QTD department, Quality Test Development Environment. And they wanted to test all of our 200+ applications end-to-end. But you should not do something like that, because if your application login page and rendering on Google Chrome 73 or a later version, all rest of the features and functionality going to work with that. And that's the magic behind a Blink engine, which is the layout engine. So that's something I would like to call out. You are just doing a compatibility testing rather than end-to-end application testing whenever you are ready to roll out a Chrome for Enterprise in your environment. Active Directory user group for pilot users, like I have mentioned in the previous slide. We worked with the different departments to gather a list of application owners, IT owners, pilot users, and we put together all those users into our Active Directory. So now we have one particular Active Directory group. We use that Active Directory group to push our Chrome 73 beta package through SCCM. So our end user computer team don't have to work on individual users. Our set of pilot user consists a developer community. It consists a UX, UI designer. We have all business and application IT owners who supports our applications on day-to-day basis. We have folks from operation teams. We do have folks from who work from home, basically a remote users who uses Citrix. So we wanted to make sure that Citrix has a Chrome 57 as well. So if they are spinning up a VDI or Citrix, that Chrome should be compatible with all the applications we are supporting, and which includes a virtual environment as well. So Chrome browser for deployment. This is something we learned after having a partnership with Google Chrome team. They introduced or guided us about a Chrome beta version out there. And we learned that we can build up a pilot test users for a Chrome beta. We can roll it out with our customized policies and get their feedback. And once we will have a feedback from them, we will redeploy a beta on those policies for the beta testers and get their feedback. And then once we will have a sign-off from all the groups, we can roll out at an enterprise level. Like I have mentioned, Blue Cross is a healthcare and very heavily regulated organizations. We disabled some of the policies which is available out of the box to meet the HIPAA compliance. For example, disable sending of crash information. We have not reported so far that any pilot user or stable user of Chrome 73 had any issues with a Chrome crash. It's not crashed so far. Disabled the sending of anonymous usage. So we have disabled the incognito mode because we wanted to make sure that we compliance with PHI, PII, and HIPAA. So we disabled the incognito mode. Disabled autofill. We don't want it to autofill of a form when our care management team, for example, filling any particular document on behalf of a member, on behalf of or a provider. So we disabled that particular one. We disabled translation as well. We disabled Chrome sync. So it should not sync with your personal email when you use Google Chrome at your home on your personal machine with a Google Chrome on at work. We blocked installation of data server extensions because we don't allow to upload any kind of data through a browser as per HIPAA regulations. There are some general configuration. We force installed LBS, which is stand for Legacy Browser Support. I'm going to talk about more in my next slide, that there are only a couple of applications using LBS and working on Internet Explorer and Microsoft Edge. Show home button on the toolbar. We have our intranet, which we called Zone. So we hard-coded that URL. So whenever an employee open a Google Chrome, that particular URL is by default a home page for those employees. We whitelist certain Chrome extensions, like I have mentioned, when we released Chrome beta for certain pilot users based on their feedback. We pre-approved certain extensions. So that particular functionality, that policy really helpful for us. So we whitelisted certain extensions. So in next quarter, when we are going to upgrade from Chrome 73 to Chrome 75, all those pre-approved extensions will automatically available to all of our employees. New tab defaults to the home page. By default, the landing page is our intranet on that. Rollout consideration. So if one of you in this room, if you are into healthcare, you definitely would like to make sure you will monitor the health indicators. You will track the usage behavior so you can improve the policies when you're going to upgrade a Chrome next time. Security events. Enterprise security is a big fan of different policies available out of the box, so we can save our time and just reuse all those policies. Maintain a set of test machines on a beta Chrome. This is really important. You definitely wanted to roll out Chrome beta for a set of users who are willing to test and notify back to you. So you will not see an issue when you're going to roll out at an enterprise level. Some deployment decisions. Deployed the package on initial pilot machines without any PII information. Partial deployment to early adopter machines. Deployed to the entire user base after a few weeks of testings. So this is how our FY 2019 Chrome deployment plan looks like. We updated Chrome 73 last month. And Google has, Google Chrome team, they has released a detailed timeline for both beta version as well as a stable version. So we are keeping beta version just after a week when Google is going to release their Chrome beta version. Same thing we are doing for a stable version as well. So between our Blue Cross Blue Shield beta deployment date and our stable Chrome deployment date, you will see we will having at least a week to get a feedback from our pilot users to modify the policies based on their feedback and update the package before we push it out to our employees. We are doing the same thing for Chrome 75, Chrome 77, Chrome 79 in upcoming 3 quarters. But for FY 2020, when we will be ready, one thing I would like to highlight, we have a very small team. We have a team of 3 people. One is a security engineer, second is end user computing engineer, and third is a program manager. These 3 folks work together. So like I said, we do not have an appetite this year to match the pace for Google Chrome team and update our environment every 6 weeks. And that's the reason we decided to keep our environment up to date every 12 weeks. But FY 2020 onwards, we're going to keep our browser up to date every 6 weeks. Our learning, this is really surprising. We were expecting that our legacy applications not going to work with Google Chrome. And that was the major reason we always get a pushback from our departments not to go with Google Chrome and just stay with either Internet Explorer on Windows 7 or Microsoft Edge with Windows 10. But we surprised ourselves that only 4 applications out of more than 200 applications are not compatible, are not rendering with Google Chrome 73. And there is a solution available for that, which is legacy browser support. So our end user computing engineers worked with Google Chrome team, and they enabled legacy browser support. So for example, your application URL is www.example.com, and that particular application is not compatible with Google Chrome 73. And an employee hitting that particular URL and hitting enter, automatically it's going to open up Internet Explorer, and it's going to render that particular application on that particular browser. So that's a magic which runs behind the legacy browser support plugin. Helpful warnings. So in Chrome 73, if an application owner or IT owner has not applied certificates, whether it's an SSL or TSL, that's something Google Chrome team highlighted on the leftmost part on your address bar that this particular application is not secure. Either it will say info secure, not secure, or secure. So it helps us to reach out to the application owner, reaching out to the IT owner, and ask them to apply an SSL and TSL certificate so their HTTP will convert into HTTPS. Google Chrome browser automatically managing a phishing attack. So it's a huge advantage for my enterprise security team to make our environment more and more secure. They run hundreds and hundreds of algorithms behind the scene to protect end user from malicious attack or avoiding any phishing websites. Advanced security protections, like I mentioned, that now my enterprise security team is really happy after adopting Chrome 73. Outcomes, we have improved our productivity and efficiency like anything. Now all of our employees using Chrome by default, and it really helps us to perform their day-to-day operations in a much better manner. We can track our browser uses using an admin functionality. Users makes the personal decision to adopt Chrome. Like I mentioned initially, adoption for Chrome comes from our end users, our own colleague, rather than our enterprise architecture team says this is something we want to release at an enterprise level. Our users reach out to us and they wanted to adopt Google Chrome at an enterprise level. I did mention about applying either SSL or TSL certificate. So like I have mentioned, we did used or had a couple of applications which did not apply an SSL and TSL certificates on those applications. And users who uses those applications, they see a security warning at the top on a browser, and they come to our to a forum and they post there with a URL and they complain about it, that whether this application is safe to use or not. And it's really helpful for our enterprise security to address their concern, because there are applications which we are not aware that, which did not have an SSL or TSL certificate applied on it. So after rolling out to Chrome 73, it really helped us to apply those certificates and making entire Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina network much more secure by default. So in my humble opinion, Chrome is way, way more than a browser. It's raising the bar really, really high. And a browser is the next most important thing after the internet. Like I have mentioned, if you are using a computer, whatever the field you work with, whether you are a developer or you work for a marketing or any industry, you need a browser. And I think that's the most important thing after having an internet.